And in verse 24, Mahanidhi is preaching, giving instructions to Bali Maharaj about being happy, how one should be satisfied with whatever he receives by destiny. And Mahanidhi says if one is not self-controlled, he'll never be happy, even if he owns the 3 worlds. Prabhupada talks in his purport about super senses. Very interesting idea. We have our Panch Gyanindriya and Panch Karamindriya, our 5 knowledge-acquiring senses, and our 5 working senses, which make the 10 senses, and then the mind, 11 senses. But there's something Prabhupada refers to as super senses, which is where one finds true and lasting, permanent, eternal happiness through the super senses. What are the super senses? Where can one find the super senses? Because if one contacts and starts functioning through his super senses, you'll find the real happiness, which is described in Bhagavad Gita 6:21. Sukham atyantikam yat tad buddhi grayam atindriyam veti yatra nachayavayam stitash chalati tattvata. In the spiritually joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. Now this experience, transcendental joy, divine bliss, Prabhupada explains that this comes through the super senses. One has to perceive happiness by the super senses. The super senses are not the senses of the material body. Every one of us is a spiritual being, an individual person. Our senses are covered by material elements. Because of ignorance, we consider the material senses that cover us to be our real senses. The real senses, the super senses, are within the material covering. Within the covering of the material senses are the spiritual senses. When the spiritual senses are uncovered, by these senses, the spiritual senses or super senses, we can be happy. Satisfaction of the spiritual senses is described in the Padma Puran. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. When the super senses are engaged in devotional service of Rishikesh, then the senses are completely satisfied. Without this superior knowledge of sense gratification, one may try to satisfy his material senses, but happiness will never be possible.